national soccer team, World Cup champion, highest paid player on her team. That's Carly Lloyd. She has a salary of $800,000. But what about Clint Dempsey, famous men's soccer player with a salary of $8 million? So why are the women being paid so much less than the men? I've been thinking a lot about my future lately, and watching the news. A topical issue I see frequently is gender inequality. I know I'm gonna go to college one day, and I'm not just going for an MRS degree. I want to know that if I work just as hard as the guy sitting next to me, I will be treated equally, respected equally, and paid equally for the same job. Today, I'd like to use the Rotary 4-way test to speak on gender inequality from an international standpoint and show how it affects people of all backgrounds. The issue of gender inequality is something that currently relates to salary, but should be recognized in all aspects of life. We must clarify 4 things to honor the Rotary 4-way test. If it's true, if it's fair to all concerned, if it builds goodwill and better friendships, and if it's beneficial to all concerned. Addressing the truth, the American Association of University Women found that the average full-time working woman makes 80% that of her male counterpart. That's a 20% salary gap, which is 20% too much. When questioning the fairness of schools and businesses towards all concerned, women are cheated. According to the National Girls Collaborative Program, of every 100 people in the science and engineering field, only 29 are women. This year, I gave up a study hall to audit an engineering and drawing class in my free time. Did I mention that it was dominated by men? 30 to 5? The ratio of 1 girl for every 6 boys is not surprising based on real-world companies. But engineering does not have to be a man's world. Women in engineering can thrive because they too belong there. The problem with gender inequality is that it does not create goodwill or better friendships. In our society, feminism can be seen as a bad word. If those who oppose feminism believe women are trying to put themselves above men, they're incorrect. The definition of feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. Now, I'm not saying men should stop opening car doors or pulling out chairs for women at restaurants, because chivalry is still a thing, but it's different from equity. For those of you who have or will have a daughter, I know you want her to have her greatest desires in life, or as hard as she will work. Women are raised in a society where we are discouraged from choosing a path in math or science. We are told that our worth is based on our appearance. And when we are successful, it is not always assumed that we've earned it. The denial of women's rights to equality is separating people by gender and belief, which is unwanted. Gender inequality is unfair to all people, including men. Look at China's one-child policy, for example. For the past 40 years, Chinese families have been restricted to having 1 child or risk facing punishment. In many cases, they wanted to continue the family name with a son. This meant that if an unwanted daughter was born, she was put up for adoption or killed. This unintentionally created a gender imbalance. According to Trading Economics, 55% of the Chinese population are men. This leaves 40 million Chinese men without a spouse. They're gonna have to make a lot of single tables at restaurants. This is clearly unfair to the men, as it is an unintended side effect of the government policy. But it's also unfair to the infant girls who are killed and put up for adoption at birth. Gender inequality also affects the government. According to International Relations students, losses in income tax hurt the government as much as it hurts the women who are losing hard-earned wages. Women are no longer a working minority, as they make up over half of the workforce, so there's no justified reason for a salary gap. The only winners here are corporate America, millionaires who manipulate the marketplace for personal profit. Gender inequality is a global setback, and it must be further recognized. A solution to gender inequality is co-ed activities. Venture Crew is a program from the Boy Scouts of America that encourages the leadership of both young men and women in their communities. Another example is a girl who destroyed stereotypes. Her name is Monet Davis. She took advantage of Little League Baseball's co-ed rule and won the Little League World Series as the star pitcher of her team. Now, I hope many of you watched the Super Bowl this weekend, because I found a commercial that really illustrates my point. In this commercial, an Audi commercial, a little girl is in a soap box derby with a bunch of little boys. She's the only girl. In the background, her father narrates, "What do I tell my daughter? Do I tell her that her grandpa is worth more than her grandma? Her dad is worth more than her mom? Do I tell her that despite her education, her drive, her skills, her intelligence, she will automatically be valued as less than every man she ever meets. Or maybe, will I be able to tell her something different? Audie is committed to equal pay for equal work. Progress is for everyone. Humanity has come so far in establishing rights for people of every background. Just think, women won the right to vote in the US exactly 100 years ago. Equality is a global effort that affects everyone regardless of gender. This is for our mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends who we only want the best lives for. This is for the hope of a better future in which no barriers are built.